Hello folks, Typhoon Carter here, and I bring to you DPP Revival Invitational 2 play-ins. This is round 2 of time bracket between Big Will and LLiolae. So, whoever wins this series is going to be facing the winner of Airy vs Jangle for time bracket play-ins finals, and again, whoever wins that is going to be getting their ticket to main event. So, this is a fantastic matchup here. Big Will and LLiolae, both in different stages of their careers. Big Will looks like he's just really finally making that jump into his prime, whereas for LLiolae, you know, he came close to a mountaintop with a finals appearance in OLT years ago. Some people thought he was washed or done, but you know, LLiolae's showing that he still got it in him. I think recently he actually won DPP Globals, at least for this edition. You know, so congratulations to LLiolae on that front. But for him, though, you know, he's also looking to try and punch his ticket in the main event. He probably would have been a main eventer, if I'm being honest, if you know, he had kind of like not taken a long period away from DPP. But you know, he's been on the ladder, he's been kind of working his butt off. But we'll see whose efforts will pay off more in this matchup. Needless to say, fantastic matchup though. Let's jump right in. So we got Skarm lead into a Heatran lead. So again, Skarm either this is defensive or suicide Skarm. Now if this is timid Tran, then LLiolae should be feeling real good because you can get rocks up for free. Skarm can't deny hazards. Big Will, if he has Icy Wind, he should probably do that. You could also just take your hazards. So there's a few ways you could play this out. And then there's factoring stuff like whether Heatran has Taunt or not, but we'll see what happens here. Stealth Rocks up, got Icy Wind there, so Big Will at least get rocks and a layer of spikes up, barring any misses here. And Heatran going to get the overheat off. So overheat on Heatran, interesting. You usually see it on specs, but I think it's a good bluff call, if you want to call it that. But Mixcon going to be a huge threat here. LLiolae gotta send a Rotom in, gotta dodge this EQ. Rotom does have to be careful of getting Draco'd on the switch, on the spot here if this Rotom is slow. Now, if it is Scarf Rotom, then Big Will have to respect this, but obviously it's too early to tell, because this Rotom could be sub-split, could be a bazillion things, but find out soon enough. There's the Draco, so that Rotom was probably sub-split or specs even, but Life Orb's gonna show up, and LLiolae sending his own Flygon out, going to Big Will's got pivot into Heatran, trying to cover for a potential outrage, but Dragon Claw is met here. A Dragon Claw on Scarf Flygon, not unheard of. It's a safe mid-ground, but Big Will making some nice pivots here, getting his Mixcon right back in position and going to threaten the EQ on this Heatran. Now LLiolae, he has a few options. Now he could just let this Heatran go. He could also, and then I think even if it's offensive Heatran, I think Shuka's not going to save him, given that, you know, the Life Orb boost from Flygon really goes a long way. So there's a few ways it can play out. LLiolae obviously doesn't want to risk sending his own Flygon in case he gets Draco, because that would be devastating. Just gotta let the Heatran go, so LLiolae okay with that. And Flygon, his own Flygon's obviously gotta be a threat once more. Heatran's gotta pivot right back in. And just go Dragon Claw as a mid-ground once again. And the Heatran check's gonna be T-Tar on LLiolae's end. And obviously LLiolae could get a superpower off here, but Heatran just going to explode on Big Will's end. And Flygon's going to come right in once more, but no, Gyarados is going to show up instead. And Suicune is LLiolae's soft water check here. Waterfall's here. One thing I will say is that for a lot of these spike hyper offense teams like the one that Big Will's running here, Suicune normally it can be really tough to deal with, especially if one of Big Will's last is like a Ghost, if it's like, you know, a Laddie in the back or a T-Tar. I think you gotta have a T-Tar here, because Suicune, like, it just outspeeds a lot of these things, like besides Gyarados. It can actually outspeed some variants of Mixed Flygon if people get a little greedy with speed, so Suicune can also really punish that. So, you know, like, Suicune's just a fantastic trade machine in this matchup. Question is, we're gonna see how Will's gonna try to play around Hidden Power Electric from offensive Suicune. And gonna go Flygon here. What's Lily? Oh, just gonna get sniped by Ice Beam. That's actually a really good mid ground there from LLiolae, because a lot of times Gyarados does at +1 doesn't quite have enough power to KO Suicune, and then there's also a factor that, you know, Suicune could sometimes drop its speed a little bit and then run some bulk. Like, you know, let's say it's timid Suicune, you can drop down to like 280, run a little bit HP investment to survive like a +1 return or something like that, and then, you know, KO it right back with Hidden Power Electric. But Ice Beam's a really good mid ground there from LLiolae, because you cover, you know, the Latias, you still do decent damage on something like a Rotom or a Gengar, although I think Big Will probably has a Rotom on this 6. So, you know, like just a really good mid ground play in general. Nicely done there. And Big Will now already super behind. Yep, there's the Rotom. However, you're probably gonna want to play around the T-Tar, but no, Will's gonna keep it simple here. LLiolae recognizing the Suicune's already done its job, and Gyarados is gonna show up here and just got Dragon Claw here, and Dragon Claw will KO this Gyarados with how things are playing out. And yeah, Big Will, no point in keeping that Gyarados. It's gonna die no matter what. T-Tar's gonna show up, obviously gonna friend a huge crunch, and LLiolae gonna sacrifice his own T-Tar, and Will's just gonna you know, EQ there, just play it simple. Flygon, yeah, U-turns there, you always U-turn there, especially because it's a likely DD Tar. Crunch is here. What's the Metagross going to do? Shuka's there, and EQ's gonna take care of that, and this Rotom should be dead, although LLiolae's probably just gonna want to milk some extra chip damage from the sand. Ice Punch there, and LLiolae will take this game 1. So nicely done by LLiolae, getting off to a fantastic start. And that early game, there was just some real good sequencing you love to see there, especially early on in the game, whether that's Big Will, you know, getting his mixed Flygon in on the Heatran as a double, getting the Draco off on the Rotom. I don't know if that was a mistake per se. Maybe LLiolae recognized what Big Will had in the back and thought that, hey, look, I have other ways to deal with something like a Gyarados or a Latias, which you can kind of tell with LLiolae's team. Like, you have the Scarf Flygon, you have the Suit T-Tar for Scarf Latias, for also like Scarf Rotom and whatnot. And then you can kind of see how sometimes these Spikes hyper offense teams, like the one that Big Will's running here, can sometimes be a little bit too slow. I mean, personally, I've ran something very similar to what Will's ran here, although I would run like something like a CM Lucario, timid especially, so that, you know, something like Suicune doesn't immediately get to put pressure on you for free. So, you know, these are like kind of just builder considerations that, you know, sometimes you gotta think about when you look at these teams. And then LLiolae's team, again, like this looks like kind of a, you know, nice balanced team with like lead Heatran, fantastic lead, even with defensive T-Tar leads being much more common in DPP and whatnot. But, you know, Heatran had one job, get rocks up, and then getting rid of the Scarm. He recognized, hey, look, it's done its job, and just let this go. So, you know, like, it's really just good understanding of kind of what pieces you could afford to sacrifice, especially in a matchup like this where, you know, all you need is one play to swing things. And because for a while Will looked like he was in a decent position to kind of make some noise for himself in this game, but LLiolae with a fantastic Ice Beam click there. But needless to say though, LLiolae, he is on match point. So we got game 2 match point here. Anyways, Starmie lead into a Heatran lead. This is not what Will wants to see, because like Specs Starmie will massacre most T-Tar variants. Even Pasho is in danger of getting massacred here. If it's a Life Orb lead, which I know it's been ran here and there, and not the biggest fan of it, but even that looks fantastic right here. So, you know, Starmie, I mean, if you're LLiolae, you know, like just let your attacks fly, just spread damage around. Now, if you're Big Will, you're probably in a little bit of trouble here. Now, if you're Sash, you know, you could try to get your rocks up, but like there's the factor of getting spun on, so you better have a damn good water resist if you're gonna get out of this. And Pulling has got to be a water resist of choice. Hydro Pump misses there. We don't know if that's Specs or not. No, it is Life Orb, in fact, so Will was perhaps not ready for that, and Stealth Rocks is gonna show up here. And LLiolae just gotta make sure that Empoleon's gone. Doesn't want to risk getting Grass Knotted on. And Heatran's gotta show up here And that is not an electric, that is not a Rotom answer whatsoever. But LLiolae better have like something like a T-Tar in the back. Gonna get Parrot here to add insult to injury, and it was a crit for that matter too. So that might have been Spadef-Tran, but T-Tar will at least be able to get the Suit Trap off, hopefully. And just got Pursuit there. Will okay with letting that go, so Gliscor's gonna show up. And LLiolae's Gliscor answer is his own Gliscor, and U-turns there into a Latias. Latias going to be a huge threat to LLiolae's team. You better have a second steal. Metagross is the steal of choice here. Got Surf here. And that is a Specs Lati, so that is not a comfortable sight to see. And that might have been a Scarf meta. And that Metagross is going to go down. Yeah, like no Metagross is ever that frail, unless it's agility or whatnot. But Gliscor's going to show up on LLiolae's end. Just got Ice Fang here, going to do decent amounts of damage. And that is a Yachi Glisk on LLiolae's end. Yeah, it makes sense on... I mean, you can also alternate between Pasho Berry too. Yachi or Pasho both make sense. But Ice Fang's here, and that is a slow Lati. Is that a modest Lati in the back? I know 199 loves using something like that. But this T-Tar now gonna be a huge threat, and I think on Big Will's end, you know, your Latias is revealed to be kind of slow. Slower than a Gliscor, so I think with the way this game's playing out, I think the Starmie might actually get the job done here. Just got Pursuit here. That might have been Scarf. But Gliss is going to show up here. And... oh, okay. Really nice read from LLiolae. That had a lot of chance of potentially going wrong. Like, you know, you could get EQ'd on the switch there. And then, you know, all of a sudden your longevity's cut short. This is a... This might decide the game here. Heatran here. Just got Ice Beam. You don't have to overthink this. If you're LLiolae, I would probably just pump here. There's the pump. That's going to get rid of it. And that's it. LLiolae, he's going to move on to Time Bracket Finals. And he will be facing the winner of Airy versus Django. So that he can punch his ticket in the main event. This was a really well played series from LLiolae. You know, especially with how he managed... you know, kind of keeping his Starmie intact, recognizing, hey, look, this Starmie is super good in this matchup, even when some hacks kind of didn't go his way. He might have won a little bit more comfortably with, you know, like if the Heatran doesn't get insta full paired. But for Big Will's team, I think this was an interesting team. I really don't love the modest Latias in the back here for several reasons. Because like one, you see the exact issue that modest Lati runs into. Is that like one, being slower than something like Gliscor, you're taking unnecessary chip damage. If you were a little bit healthier, you might be able to eat an Ice Beam from Starmie. And then there's obviously the whole T-Tar problem. Like, you really see how a team like this, it's relying a lot on Latias and Empoleon being your water resist. And also to a degree Scizor too. I mean, Scizor took so much unnecessary chip damage from the Metagross. And I think Will, what he should have done there, especially on the turn when meta like EQ once, like don't let it get EQ'd again, right? Like, you know, you gotta keep that Scizor around. Like I would go Gliscor, and then from there, you know, I think Big Will's Gliscor could have had chance to do some real damage for sure. And you know, so, and also like just really good discipline from LLiolae, not going for a spin, like just, hey look, take your damage, recognizing, hey look, this Starmie, it's got one job right now, spread damage around and close this game out, and it did exactly that. So again, nicely done, and Big Will, thank you for playing. I think you will bounce back sooner rather than later. And that being said though, if you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment, subscribe, and consider donating to DPP Revival Invitational 2's prize pool. Again, any donations we get would be great. It's what helps keeps these tournaments running. And that being said though, I will see you guys next time.